Yep. Big crowd for the bananas. All right, here we go. Where did I want to start? Okay. Here's where I wanted to start. Not on this. Wednesday, first quiz, like I said, next Wednesday. Here you go. Before break, I just want to see if anybody can remember. I gave you a polar coordinate. I'll say it's 2, 3 pi over 4. And I ask you guys to put that into rectangular, which is xy. Anybody remember how to find the x coordinate? There was a formula I gave you. It was x equals. There you go. Yep. And then y was equal to r sine theta. Write that at the top of your notes right now, please, because you are going to need that to substitute that in today. Okay, so write that at the top of your notes. R x equals r cosine theta. Y equals r sine theta. Because now we're going to do equations today. Take a rectangular equation and make it into a polar one. Okay, so here we go. First thing I got x equals 7. And I'm not expecting you to remember this, but maybe you will. If I asked you to graph that, do you know what that's going to form? If I gave you a sheet of graph paper right now, you did an xy axis, what x equals 7 is going to be? They're all straight. Vertical line at 7. Everyone agree? Well, if I did that if I tried to type this in on a polar grid, x equals 7, it wouldn't give me a vertical line. So what I need your help with is, what could I type in so I get a vertical line at 7? All right, but I got to change it into polar equation now. Ready? X equals 7. There's my rectangular equation. I could write here. Ready? What's x equal to? You just wrote it at the top of your paper. What's x equal to? Sub it in. R cosine theta equals 7. And then I'm just going to let you read the directions. It's got to be final answer as R. So you need at the end of every problem today, R equals this. So you need to move some stuff around algebraically. Okay, so I need to get that R by itself. So what do you think? How do I get rid of the cosine? Divide it. Yep, ready? R equals 7 divided by cosine theta. And that would be the equation in polar. Now remember, what did you tell me? What was this if I graphed it? That's a vertical line going through 7, right? So what I did ahead of time was I took a polar graph and typed in 7 divided by cosine theta. Take a look, everybody. I typed in R 7 divided by cosine theta on a polar graph, and look what happened. Look what it graphed for me. A vertical line going through 7. Okay? So that's what it would be equal to in polar form. So all you're going to do is substitute in x and y. Matt? Yep. It's a whole different ball game on your calculator, and I'll get to that when we actually start doing actual graphs. Okay, it's a different mode, everything. Okay. Well, what you're gonna, you know how you're always in degree or radian mode, where you're gonna stay in one of them. And if you hit your mode button right now on your calculator, go ahead. I believe it should say function polar. You see where it says polar? When you get it in polar mode, you usually hit X in your Y equal screen. When you hit that X button, it'll change to a theta automatically. Okay? All right, so everyone good. That's what we're going to do today. Keep subbing it in. But I need your focus on all the rest of these three, because the solving for R does not get any easier. All right, X plus Y equals 5. Change it to polar. Well, what's X? 2, what? What is X equal to? I'm changing the polar. X equals? We're changing. It's okay. I'm sure there's other people in the right. They just don't speak or have a creepy mustache. X is equal to what? Yeah, going to eagle. Yeah, that's what it is. Too harsh? Sorry, too harsh right there? Too harsh. Grab your bag of candy. All right, moving on. All right. X. What did I have you to sub in for X? R. So ready? R cosine theta plus What do you sub it in for y? If I'm going to polar, r sine theta equals 5. Now, this is why I said solving for r is not going to get any easier, because you have an r in both now, and I need it down to 1r. And I'll just tell you, unless somebody wants to guess, I can tell you right off the bat how we're going to get it to single r. Factor it. They both have an r in it, don't they? They both have an r in it, right? Take it out. Now it becomes just a single r. And what's left inside your parenthesis? Take the r away. Cosine theta plus sine theta equals 5. And now how do you get that r by itself? Take your time, take your time. What's happening between the r and this whole thing? Multiplication, how do you undo it? Divide both sides by cosine theta plus sine theta. So here the polar equation would be r equals, got to always have r equals, 5 over cosine theta plus sine theta. Okay? Anything you want to ask there? Because they're going to, I'm sorry, but they're just going to get tougher solving for r now. I have full confidence you can plug them in and substitute, but solving for r is going to get a little tougher. Anything you want to ask now? We only got 2 more. Real quick, anybody want to show off some knowledge? Anybody know what that's an equation of? Back from your geometry days? If I graph that on an xy graph, what that will turn out to be? Anybody remember? X squared and y, x and y are both squared? Not parabola. That's only a good choice. It's only if x is squared. That's absolute value. We're Matt. It's a circle. Yep.
Wow.
Circle.
What?
Okay. Anyway. Okay. All right. It would be a circle. No big deal, but it would be a circle. All right. Now let's be careful. What are we subbing in for x? What are we subbing in for x? R. Ready? R cosine theta, but it's got to be what? I still have to square this. Take a look. I just substituted in for x. What'd you substitute in for y? R sine theta, still all squared equals 9. Okay, from here, how do I deal with this squared from here? Both get squared inside. Ready? So it's going to be r squared, and also I square cosine. So it's going to look like this, cosine squared theta. That's what that looks like. Take a look, soak it in. That's what happens when I square that. It is, but here, because I'm squaring the value of cosine theta. So if I do cosine of 30, I want that value squared. I don't want the 30 squared. I want cosine of 30 squared. Okay, what over on the right side? R squared sine squared theta equals 9. Based off what we did last problem, what do you want me to do next? Because remember, you need 1 r left somehow. What do they both have? R, take it out. Take it out. R squared. What's left? You're doing some hardcore math here, ladies and gentlemen. Be proud. What's inside? Cosine squared theta plus sine squared theta equals 9. And I know some of you are going like, hey, let's divide both sides by cosine squared. And I wouldn't blame you, but you're not. Okay, I'm going to give you another equation to remember, and I don't know if anybody remembers it from our Algebra 2 days. Make sure this gets down somewhere where you're going to remember and see it. Cosine squared plus sine squared from our Algebra 2 days. It's fine. We have a wild guess, if anybody remembers back in the day. This is Algebra 2 from earlier this year. Sorry. No. Good guess. All right, ready? That was it. 1. Cosine squared plus sine squared equals 1. Make sure we remember that one. That's huge. So ready, what's this turn? Hey, look, what's this going to turn into now? This is 1, right? R squared, cosine squared plus sine squared is 1. So what's left on the left side? R squared equals 9. Remember, you always have to solve it for R, not R squared. R equals 3. And I know some of you may care, but I certainly do. What did you tell Matt? What was that? If I graphed it on the XY grid at the beginning, what was it going to form? Circle, right? So when I graph R equals 3 on the polar graph, whoo, here we go. I'm the only one that gets fired up. Doesn't matter. Ready? R equals, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, 3. We get a circle on the polar grid. All right? Just like we would have if we graphed it on the XY. What? What's your deal? Don't steal my fire. All right, just let it go. Okay, just let it go. Everyone okay? And we got one more here for me. What's this going to be? X and Y are still squared. What's it going to be? Oh, no. Circle. Still going to be a circle at the end. Here we go. Whoa, boy. Yeah, I love this. Here we go. What are you going to sub in for X? R cosine theta all squared. What about for Y? R sine. Oh, we got a little something extra on the other side, huh? 4 times what? R cosine theta, yep. I just showed you how to do the left side. So we square the R and the cosine. And we square the R and the sine. And now this will just be 4 R cosine theta. Nothing crazy has to happen there. All right, what are you taking out of the left side again? R squared. And you're going to be left with cosine squared plus sine squared. Everyone all right so far? What's on the left side now? R squared, right? Oh boy. I get it. A lot of you want to just take the square root, but that doesn't solve, because I'm still going to have an R on this side. I need one single R. That's it. So yes, if you do take the square root, that'll get R equals, but then you still got an R over here. Everyone see my problem if I take the square root? You're still going to have 2 R's. Holy crap. You the man right there. That is correct. You can divide both sides by R. Yeah. Because look what happens. Where did that come from? Anybody seen Old School before? That reminded me when Frank the Tank was up to debate and he just blacked out and got all the correct answers and woke back up. All right. You're excited today. Must be a fire drill over at Eagle later, huh? Clients coming out. Here we go. So wrong. So wrong. I'm sorry, everybody. So wrong. And then what do I end up with over here? What was this graph going to be again if I graphed it on the XY? Okay, real quick, just to end it. Just humor me for a little bit. 4 cosine theta on the polar graph. R equals 4 cosine THE theta. There it is, that blue sucker right there. Circle on the polar graph. All right, questions with that? Okay, I'm coming around. Just be patient. Coming around, checking your work from yesterday. Just be patient with me.